Welcome back, everyone, to Lore with Ludus Infinium. Today we talk about my favorite of the original 18 legions, my favorite amongst the traitor legions, the 1,000, the only 1,000 Sons. Originally they were named the Student Aspirants, later renamed 1,000 Sons by the Emperor. Taken from psychically gifted aspirants from the, I apologize for messing this up, Achaemenid families. They were rather successful in their campaigns at the end of the Unification Wars, and they were gifted their first expeditionary fleet and name from the Emperor. A small aside, two of the first aspirants to become student aspirants were Azek and Ormuzd. I apologize to anyone that actually knows how to pronounce that. Ahriman. Yes, that's Azek Ahriman. The 15th used their psychic powers instead of head-on attacks to bring the worlds into compliance. This brought the ire of many other legions, especially the 6th. So, to clarify a bit on this point, they didn't just use psychic powers, they also tended to use diplomacy. Or they just kind of, I don't know. Well, they messed with their counterparts' heads with warp ooga booga bullshit. And so, real quick, as a brief aside, every legion had a fatal flaw. In the case of the traitor legions, their fatal flaw tended to be what caused them to turn traitor. So, in the case of the 1,000 Sons, they were perhaps the most arrogant of the legions, because they believed that the warp was something they could control, and that came back to bite them in the ass very hard, as we will soon find out. Actually, as we'll find out right now. Continued overuse of their powers became a curse, eventually, with the flesh change. Yes, that sounds, so delicious. Oh, yeah. Essentially, they used so much warp energy and depended so much on the warp powers, it started turning them into what would later be known as chaos spawns. And as much as I really hate copying other people, I will defer to another 40k YouTuber, Arch Warhammer, in his using Traitor Gene Seed to make modern Space Marines, if it would be possible. When he was talking about the 1,000 Sons, you could hear braying on the ship. So, not as funny, but I defer to that. In fact, I will leave a link to that video in the description. If you want to check it out, it's actually a really interesting and really kind of cool video, because I believe there is a loyal chapter out there that is a descendant of the 1,000 Sons. The thieves, the blood ravens. Anyway, sorry, having just a little bit more fun with this, trying to be a little bit more upbeat. Let me know what you think. By the time they reunified with Magnus the Red, their Primarch, he was able to stop the flesh change through unknown means. Now, let me kind of correct this, because at the time it was unknown means. Tzeentch was fucking with him. Tzeentch caused it, and Tzeentch was like, I will fix it to make him think he did it. Tzeentch is a horrible Batman villain. Look, nigga, I fucked with his legion. Anyway, so, now that I got that out of my system, unfortunately, by the time that Magnus was able to stop, well, by the time Magnus thought he stopped the flesh change, there were only 1,000 Astartes left. And I want to point this out real quick. Among them were the two Ahriman brothers, Azek and Ormuzd. I think that's right. Yeah. An important event pre-heresy. The Arc-Reach Cluster campaign, which will now be known as the Arc-Reach Clusterfuck. A Thousand Sun legionary, towards the end of this campaign, might have possibly overdone it with his warp powers and turned into a chaos spawn. Silly space marines, you will never learn. He thought he was safe, Batman. Anyway, so this legionnaire, he was reaching out for Magnus, and Magnus was going to give him an embrace, and then he exploded because he was killed by the almighty Lemon of Clan Russell Channel. Ooh. In all seriousness, Lemon Russ put a bolt round into it, and it exploded. Normally, I wouldn't think a bolt round would make a chaos spawn explode, knowing what I do of modern 40k, but hey, you know what? Fucking story. So, there was already there were some bad feelings between the 15th and 6th Legions. This brought those feelings to irreparable. And when I mean irreparable, I mean, even if the Thousand Suns had remained loyal, I don't think they ever would have fought side by side with the 6th ever again. So we go on to one more interesting little event, I guess, or piece of information before the Horus Heresy. This is the Council of Nicaea. Now, I understand the idea here. The Emperor did this to keep peace. He essentially said that all librarians and all of the Legio Librarius would be disbanded. And all the librarians would stop using their powers and stop using sorcery and go back to fighting the conventional way. Yay. And I get it. He did it essentially to keep the peace. But, it ended up coming back to bite Magnus and the Emperor square in the darkest part of both of their buttholes. Something interesting, though, he did not outlaw all psychers. He did allow astropaths, navigators, and specialized sanctioned psychers, such as the Sisters of Silence. Pariahs. Don't know why they're considered psychers in this case. Interesting little aside. Pariahs are not, well, you could argue that they're not psychers because they don't have a connection to the warp. They have essentially an aura of anti-warp. And they scare the fuck out of people, and they're really cool. But, anyway, on to an important event in the Horus Heresy. Tonight, on the 6 o'clock news, Prospero is burning. Wait, what? Okay. So, what ends up happening, and I don't like doing it this way because it involves me to talk about other legions, and I want to keep this strictly about the Thousand Suns, but we're going to have to deviate just a bit. Magnus had learned that Horus had full-on turned traitor. So Magnus, being the good boy that he is, did something dumb. He projected his spirit to the Emperor to have a mind-to-mind phone call. And in doing this, broke the psychic barrier surrounding his little workshop in the basement, letting in a bunch of demons. The Emperor was not happy with this. And one of the few times that I like saying from another YouTuber, he essentially told Russ, Lehman Russ, the one Primarch that was the most, well, at the top of the list of bad ideas. He was the worst loyal Primarch to send after Magnus. He essentially told him, go bring me Magnus so I can spank his red ass. And so, Russ said, ooh, Daddy gonna beat the red one. I'm going to go and collect him. And at that point, the Emperor looked down deeply into Russ's eyes. And instead of saying, I love you, son, have a safe trip, he said, stop sniffing my ass. It's getting a little weird. Anyway, So, at this point, Russ is on his way to go collect Magnus. Horace, who we had just pointed out had just turned traitor, intercepts Russ. I was about to call him Lemon, which I'm okay with. Intercepts Lemon of Clan Russell Channel. Ooh. And he tells him, you know what, bro? I know you don't like Magnus, so I've got some good... Have you heard the good word today? No, brother. Well, one, stop sniffing my crotch. I am still your brother. Here's the good news. Stop it. Stop sniffing now. Stop. So, he tells him instead that Dad changed his mind. Don't capture Magnus. He's too much of a liability. Kill him. And so, Russ gets a big smile on his face, and his tail just wags like you would never believe before. He gets the big eyes and runs off with the bone in his mouth, back towards his capital ship, and makes way again for Prospera. And off they fuck towards Prospera. And when they get there, Magnus had put up a psychic veil over the planet. He knew what was coming. He knew this would be the death of his legion. And he was okay with it. This was their arrogance catching up to them, and he was ready to accept the punishment. It's only until the fighting got literally right to his fucking doorstep, let's be honest, that Magnus said, you know what, I can't let my legion die. I will fight. And he had a titanic battle with the ass sniffer. And unfortunately, Magnus might be good in psychic combat, but one area where I will give credit where credit is due, it is really fucking hard to beat the Space Wolves in hand-to-hand CQC. And for some reason, Magnus decided to get into close-quarter combat range with Lehman Russ, and lost. Surprise! And so, he ended up casting another spell, because all of them have worked out so great up to this point, and sent all of his legion to the warp. You know what? I'm going to do a little aside here. As much as I don't believe this is canonical, I see why people get behind Erda. I don't. Because technically she sent her children through the warp to save them from their father. Magnus did the exact same fucking thing. Makes me feel like a prick. Anyway, so I mean, I still like the Thousand Sons, don't get me wrong. I think they have an arrogance problem. But at the same time as he saved his son, someone saved him and made him into a warp entity. Yes, Batman, look what I have created. It is the first demon Primarch, Magnus the Red. Oh, that's gonna... I don't know how I started doing that joke. Anyway. So, it essentially damned him and his legion to be the last legion to turn traitor. And his legion ended up going to this planet, and he was revealed to them in his new Demon Primarch form, with that new Demon Primarch smell. Well, at least it wasn't Norgal, because then it would smell like rancid asshole. Sorry, Mortarion. Fuck you! Okay. Fulgrim's over there. Whatever. So, they get transported to this planet. The Horus Heresy carries on. Horus loses. And they return to the Eye of Terror because warp. So, when they get back, you remember that flesh change thing I was talking about? Well, third time's the fucking charm, isn't it? After the third outbreak of the flesh change, Magnus gives up with, no, I didn't read that right. He resigned himself and his legion to their fate as a way of, I don't know, sadomasochistic penance? And now, at this point, his first captain, Isaac Ahriman, who just witnessed, or must, Ahriman, turn into a chaos spawn, said, this shit be crazy. Enough is enough. And he got a cabal of sorcerers together and cast what is considered probably one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful spell cast in 40k to date. The Rubric of Ahriman. This won't go wrong at all. So, any Thousand Sons Legionnaire who had little to no psychic power were turned to dust and sealed within their armor. Well, they're not them themselves, because they were dust. Their souls were sealed in their armor. And those with any significant amount of psychic power had those powers boosted. I mean, could have been worse. Could have been the whole fucking Legion, I guess, turned to dust. For his part in the creation and casting of the rubric, Ahriman was banished by Magnus for what he had done to the Legion. Because Magnus was pissed. And Magnus sent him on a journey to learn the true purpose of chaos. However, Ahriman had different plans. Plans that even in 40k are the same as what they were in 30k, because yes, he's still alive. To find the means to control chaos. That, however, is a tale for its own video, when I do one on Isaac Ahriman, which will actually be kind of cool, I think. So, what did you think of the new video? I plan on doing this video and the following 5 videos up to the Luna Wolves videos in this more upbeat attitude. If you enjoy it, let me know in the comments. Yeah, if you want to help support the channel, there's a link to Patreon and Streamlabs in the description. If you want to really help the channel, please subscribe, leave a like, do all the stuff YouTube wants, join the Discord, join our interesting community. Actually, I shouldn't say that, joking. We have a really amazing community. We do. And join the community. See if you like it. We have a bunch of good people. If you ever need anyone to talk to, we're all here for you. And on that note, the most important thing of all, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!